When you're shooting macro photography, it's quite easy to get a lot of the image out of focus due to the shallow depth of field involved, and sometimes you just can't rescue the information that you've lost in the soft focus parts of the shot. But there's areas that are on the borderline of being sharp, like these areas around the creature's eye here. So if we just make a bit of a selection, like so, just around this area, we can use a sharpening plugin called CrispImage to just get a bit more detail in this section here. Now I'm just going to right click to feather the area that I'm sharpening, so we get a nice blend between the sharpened area and the rest of the image. We don't want a sharp line showing that we've edited our image, so feather will help mix the two areas together. And once you've installed this plugin, you might find it's quite tricky to actually locate, because it's actually somewhere sensible. It's not in the plugin section here at all. It's actually been put into the sharpen option. It took me a while to realize that. But if you go to sharpen CrispImage, then up pops the little interface there, and you can move around. We're only working on this area here, but you can actually look around to see how the sharpening algorithm will affect the rest of the image. And as I move, we see the original image, and when I let go of the mouse, like so, you can see the effect that the sharpening settings are having on default there. So let's have a quick look and see what these options are. Well, first of all, work out what your target resolution is going to be. Are you sharpening it for the web, which will be 72 dots per inch, or are you trying to print out a huge, high-quality 300 dpi picture? And that's more likely what you'll get, the quality-wise, for print. It's quite hard to see, though, because it shrinks the image down a little bit. So let's just go back to screen resolution, because that's what I'm working on at the moment anyway. And we can start to sharpen. Now this works a bit like unsharp mask. You've got the strength of the sharpening algorithm there. If I increase that, you'll see a change. Give it time to have a think. That's the before, that's the after. Threshold will allow you to increase the sharpening effect between pixels. Now if it starts to sharpen grain, you'll get lots of artifacts, so you can reduce the threshold or increase it to change the effect that the sharpening is having, and try and avoid sharpening things you don't want to sharpen. And these are the main things that Photoshop Unsharp Mask has, except for obviously this one here. So this is actually allowing you to target your different sources. And don't forget, sometimes your camera might have already sharpened the image, so be careful what you do when you sharpen it a little bit more, otherwise you might start to add artifacts to it. And if you're going to print an image, then a little bit of sharpening always gives you a slightly better quality print. You've got an extra option to control the amount of sharpening, and you can actually restrict that sharpening to a narrower band of pixels or a wider band just by dragging the standard deviation slider here, and that you can see is affecting the image slightly. Watch the image on the left as I drag to the right now. Okay, so that's actually making it have a wider or a tighter effect on our pixels there. So again, this is a extra option that Photoshop doesn't have, allowing you to fine-tune the sharpening effect. And another way of moving around, of course, is these arrows here, which is fairly self-explanatory. But as you can see, when I move, we can see the original picture there. As I click and drag, when I let go, you can see that we have got a fair bit of extra detail added. Considering this is quite a soft area, it's done quite a good job. It's even had a crack at adding detail to the back there, so you can see a little bit more of the fur on the creature's body there. But we're only going to apply it to this section because of the marquee that we made, so let's click OK and have a gander. So there we have quite a pixely effect there, because we've used quite a strong effect. So Control Z to undo that, and then we can go and fine-tune that a little bit more. So you can see more clearly the effect that you're having by looking at the larger size here. But once you're in the CrispImage dialog box, go back to sharpen again, then you can fine-tune the effect there. Let's take the strength down a little bit, and the threshold as well, to narrow the effect we're having. So we're going to go for a more subtle sharpen. I'll just increase the DPI as well a little bit, and click OK, and Control Z to undo the effect and to redo it. So you can see there's a little bit of a texture difference there. If I Control D to deselect the filter there, and we zoom out, then we've got a little bit more texture visible there on the creature's eye. So obviously you can't really restore detail too much to these other areas here, but you can just give your shot a little bit more detail and see a little bit more of the texture that you've lost due to the low depth of field setting using this filter.